Hi loves, welcome back to my channel. My name is Oluchinwobi Daniel. I am a makeup artist based in Enugu, Nigeria, and in today's video I'll be showing you guys how I achieved this smoky glitter makeup. It's just eye makeup for this video. Okay, so if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for sticking with me, and please keep on watching all my videos. You definitely have one or two to learn. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to my channel. Okay, so the last time I did a smoky eye look, I didn't show you guys how I mixed up my glitters, but this time around I'll definitely show you and explain to you better. So if you want to know how I achieved this look, please, I would love you to keep on watching. And one more thing, I would love you to share this video to your friends, and also like, comment, and show me love, guys. Please show me love. Okay, so let's get right into it. Okay guys, so I've done the skin work and also the brows off camera. She's also a client that walked in for her birthday shoot. We've been lacking models these days, so and if my client agrees that I use their face, who am I to to say no? So I asked her and she permitted me to. So please, you guys should comment and show her love too, because it's not easy for a client to actually allow you film her while doing her makeup. So she agreed. Okay, so let's get into it. I started off with P. Louis base in 05 using a flat brush to buff it in. Guys, first of all, you already know from my previous videos that to get a perfect eye look, your base has to sleep. When I mean sleep, you have to blend and make sure there are no cracks, there are no harsh lines, and there are no bumps. So I prefer you use little base on the eye so that you don't have too much, because if there is too much, it's definitely going to eat up your eyeshadow or whatever you're putting on the eyes, and it's not going to sit properly. Okay, so I'm going to have a dark base for this eye makeup look because of the kind of glitters I'm using. Okay, so the dark base is from my Morphe palette in 250, yeah, I think it's 250B. It's been long I had this palette, so I can't really remember their numbers. Okay, so this is their normal nude palette that everybody knows. So I took this dark brown from the palette using a flat brush to pat the eyeshadow on the lid. Okay, so this is a place I want to place my glitters, and I really want the base to be dark. Now when you have a dark lid, what happens is that it helps your glitters to pop, and also it depends on the color of glitters you're using. So because I'm using giving it a smoky effect, I prefer to use brown eyeshadow. You can also use black, but I think the reason why I didn't use black is because I didn't want the black to kind of you know how you wear something and it's like a see-through. I don't want the black to be a see-through to the glitter, so that's why I chose brown, and I didn't want it to be extremely smoky. I wanted it to sparkle and also look a bit light, as she doesn't really like heavy makeup. So heavy makeup does not mean when you use glitters or smoky eyes. You can do any kind of makeup, even neon colors, and still make it look very natural. But I won't call this a nude makeup, but it looked really subtle after the whole makeup. Okay, so now that I have put all that eyeshadow on the eyelid, I will need to blend the edges using my Fenty Beauty bronzer in Mocha Mami. So I'm using another blending brush to do this work because I don't want to transfer the brown into the crease. I want the crease to be as soft and chocolatey as possible, and that was the reason why I used my mocha mami, because it's really giving me the exact effect that I want for this eye look. So I'm blending out that brown, diffusing it out with the mocha mami. Okay, so because I don't want the brown to look too dark, and if you can see, her eye makeup still looks very subtle. So make sure you blend out that crease because you don't want harsh lines. As I always say, you don't want harsh lines. So I took my time to blend out the crease before I went ahead with my glitters. Okay, so I used 2 glitters here, or rather 3 glitters, but one of them is this Luztacosmetics in Ebehi. So this Ebehi, I didn't know that it's almost finished, even though I didn't want too much of it. So I have my pan here. I put in my BH Cosmetics glitter glue, and then I poured the pigment on top and mixed it together. You can see how it appears on my brush. So now this Ebehi, I mixed it with the silver glitters from the EA Beauty. I can't remember the shade, but I'll definitely leave it in the description box for you guys. So this silver, I mixed it with the Ebehi. Ebehi is like burnt gold kind of. It has a little bit of black glitters in it. It's not pure gold. It looks like a smoky gold kind of. So I mixed it with the silver for just the inner part of her eyelid. If you can see, I'm using a flat concealer brush. It's a synthetic brush because I didn't want to use a brush that is natural hair because it might just drag up the glitters. I think if I was using pigment, I would use a natural like hair brush. So I use a synthetic brush to place it because it's easier for me. I don't know about you, but I used it because that part of the eye needs a lot of detailing, because it's not a cut crease, but I'm just following the line of the crease to place the glitters. So that was exactly why I used that flat brush, so that it can penetrate in and not leave leftovers round. Okay, so you can see that I'm using a more softer hair brush to place the brown glitters. Okay, the reason why I'm using this is that I'm supposed to blend in the brown glitters into the silver one, and I didn't want to use the same synthetic brush. I wanted it to have like, I didn't want it to have a demarcation. I wanted it to have like a diffusion into the silver, because trust me, if you leave harsh lines in between your glitters, it will just appear like a flag. You know, when Nigerian flag is green, white and green, you don't want the lines to be in between. So that's why I use this brush instead of the synthetic brush to do the brown. So the brown glitters is also from EA Beauty. I'm still going to leave the names as I don't have them off heart. Okay, so I kept on placing. It's not like, don't make it chunky. I just started with little, glitters. I don't take so much of it so that I don't put too much, because if it's too chunky, trust me, when you're lining the eyes, you're not going to love it, and you don't want the client to go for her photo shoot and the glitters are falling all over her neck or her face. Okay, you can see I try to ask her to open her eyes and close it so that I'll make sure that the glitter is sleeping well. That way the glitters is not going to, there won't be demarcation on her eyes, because if you place it very well, you won't have cracks. So that cracks is what I'm avoiding. Okay, so I'm done placing the glitters. I'll just blend out the setting powder which I used in setting under her eyes. Guys, I baked a little. You can see how light my baking is, and I did that because of fallout from the eye makeup. So I'm using my Sephora powder in tan 40, mixing it with my MAC mineralized skin finish in deep darkest. So these two is giving me the smooth blend that I want. And I'm using a buffer brush. I know you guys are used to see me use like a more fluffy brush, but I think I'm loving this buffer brush because it kind of sweeps and still leaves that place looking flawless. Okay, so I went back with my Morphe palette. Oh, I haven't used Morphe palette in this video, but I used this Morphe bronzer in Prodigy. So Prodigy is way darker than the Fenty in Mocha Mami. So my reason for using this Prodigy is because I really want underneath her eyes to have a little bit of a smoky effect. So it's more like my transition for the lower lash line, which I was still blending a darker color above it, but that darker color is now going to diffuse into the brown. So you'll see what I am going to achieve with this. By the time I put the black eyeshadow or extend my black liner and blend it, it's not going to look all black again because of the transition there, which is the Morphe bronzer in Prodigy. So I always try to blend out every fallout from whatever I do on the eyes because you don't want the mark to stay on there. Okay, so I'm using this Marble pencil to line above her eye. I love to do this because I don't want her eyes to look kind of sleepy, and it has a way of darkening the roots of those lash lines. It helps so that when you put your lashes, you won't be seeing through her skin underneath. So I always like to tight line, even though I didn't get it as much as I wanted because my client's hair is very sensitive. So I was really being careful while applying. So for the lower lashes, I applied it on the liner and a little bit out of the lash line because I needed to blend with a pencil brush and also blend it out with a black eyeshadow. That way it can diffuse into the transition we use, which is the bronzer we use below. So you can see that the effect of the bronzer, from all that blending, right? You can see, right? Okay, so I'm still going to blend the liner and then put the black eyeshadow. So you don't want to leave the liner sitting like that because sometimes you can crease, it can crack, whatever, but I feel that the best thing to do is that you put an eyeshadow to blend it out, something that is powdery. So the only option is to use the eyeshadow, because if you just leave the liner there, it's going to kind of crack because that liner seems like a base now for that place. So you have to set it with an eyeshadow. So guys, are you seeing the beauty of that bronzer I did earlier underneath the eyes? I don't know if you're seeing it, but for me, I'm seeing it. So see the black eyeshadow from my African Queen palette, which is Blossom Cosmetics eyeshadow palettes. If you're one of my subscribers, definitely you should know this eyeshadow, and a lot of you have bought this eyeshadow from just watching me use it, because I get a lot of messages. I bought Blossom Cosmetics because of you, and there's a look you created and I loved it. Very good. I hope you love it as much as I do, because I really do love it. So I've already blended that eyeshadow into the black eyeshadow into the bronzer, and the next thing I'm going to do is to take a little bit of the black eyeshadow, okay, to blend on the outer V of that glitters. Are you seeing that it's giving it a slight smoky effect? And I'm not using so much. I purposely used the same tiny pencil brush because I didn't actually want to use a bigger blending brush. I don't want the black to be too much. So you see what it's doing to the eyes? It's giving it a base, a shape kind of. I don't know how to explain it, but I just feel that there's a whole lot of difference. So after doing that, I'm going to blend it, because you know that little tiny brush cannot do a lot of blending on that part of the eye. So I just took something slightly bigger than it to blend to, and because I don't want it to extend too much to where it's not supposed to be, I still chose to use a very tiny one, a tiny brush, just slightly bigger than the one I used in placing the black eyeshadow. So I still went back into the bronzer to blend, because I don't want harsh lines, guys. You see how, you know, how intentional I am when it comes to my eyeshadow eye look. I try to blend. I still went in with another brush to blend again. You see? I don't joke with my blending when it comes to eye work. So I went ahead to line her eyes with my favorite gel liner, Ingloss 77, and that's it. I know most of you love to use liquid liners when you do glitter eyeshadow. I know, I heard it's easier, but guys, I was never used to liquid liner, and trust me, I won't lie to you, it's a weakness. If I try to use it, I'm definitely going to ruin this entire look. And the only way I can actually use liquid liner is when I use this one and I can go over with the liquid liner. Okay, so after lining, I still went ahead to reline the lower lash line. I wanted it to be darker, so I just used whatever that was left on my brush to do the lining, and that was it. So why I did this is because sometimes when you use pencil liners, sometimes it's matte, but it tends to fade out at some point. So I didn't want it to phase out. I wanted it to stick there throughout her photo shoot. So that's why I went ahead with the Ingloss gel liner, just to keep it still. So afterwards, I went in with my Serum mascara to elongate her lashes. She really has long lashes. I know you can't see it from here, but at some point I felt like there was no need putting lashes on her, but obviously this eyes needs to pop, so it needs extra lashes, and that was exactly what I did. I put extra lashes. Make sure that when you use your mascara, you don't leave clusters of mascara on the eyelashes. And if you do, please remember to use a clean mascara wand to take off the excesses. So using my tweezers, I'm placing these lashes from voanbeauties. You guys already know they don't have numbers on them, so this is another style from the one I used in the last video. So you carefully place it. So when you place it, make sure your client is very comfortable. Ask them if the lashes are sitting well. If it's not, then you try as much as possible to press it in or remove it and put it back again in a way that it will sit comfortably in their eyes. You don't want them to go for their events or for their photo shoots and start tearing because the lashes is not sitting well. I've had that experience, and trust me, it's not a good one, because once they start tearing, another thing is that they will start sweating, and before you know it, the eyeshadow starts pulling off. So this is the lash glue I used. I don't know how to pronounce it. I don't know if it has a Chinese name or what, but it's hard to pronounce. Some of you must have come across it. It's a random glue, but it really holds well. So you can see that she opened and closed her eyes. There are no cracks because the way I placed the pink glitters, it was sitting right on her lid, and I didn't put a chunk of it, so it's sitting light and it's sitting well. So the next thing was to blush her cheekbones. I didn't want to blush underneath the apple of her cheeks, because if you notice, her cheeks are kind of downward, and I didn't want to pull it even more down, so I prefer to put my blush on the highest point of her cheekbones, and then I can blend down the excesses. Okay, so this way it will add a little bit of lift to her face. And for the brush I'm using, this is an old brush from Jessup. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jessup. It's actually on AliExpress. That was where I bought them from. Okay, so make sure you also blend the blush in so that it won't look like it's pasted. So everything needs to look like skin. So going in with highlighter, I used my 89 Cosmetics Ebehi. This is their darkest shades for brown skin, dark skin. So I used it with I blended it in with my Nuban Beauty brush. So this Nuban brush, I love the size, and I love the fact that it can take a little bit of highlighter and also put it exactly on the parts of the face where you want it to be. So this highlighter is very pigmented, so whenever I take very little. It's better to take little and build up if you're scared of putting too much. So I just use on her cheekbones, tip of her nose, and a little bit on her forehead and chin. So whatever is left on my brush was what I ran through her forehead, because you don't want the forehead to look like a shining star, okay, or the shape of a moon. So you just have to use the excesses from the brush and just brush it up on the forehead area. Okay, so the next glow I used, so this glow now is what made everything now look dewy, because you remember I said I love to start with a matte and then end up with dewy finish. So this cheek glaze from TM Essentials did the work for me. So this is TM Essentials in Balm. Is my favorite, and I use it only on dark people. I think there's another shade for light skin, but I never bought it, but I think I'm definitely going to buy it, so that the light skin people are not going to be missing out on the glow that the dark people are getting. Okay, so every place I placed my highlighter is the same place I'm going to put that glow on. So remember, before you put it on the face, make sure you absorb it at the back of your palm. This will help to reduce the amount you're placing, so that if you're placing little, you can build up. But if you go directly from the palm, sis, you might just spoil the whole look. And little goes a long way, because it has it has oily content in it. Okay, so I did her lips off camera. I already have nude lips video on this channel, so in case you're confused, you can always go and watch that video, or I'll link it up here. So I just used these glosses. I had to show the glosses. They are from Elsa's Pro, and I used these two glosses on my last video. This is Famous and Hustler. So Hustler is a lighter one, which I use at the center of the lips, and Famous was what I used on the edges, the borders of the lips. So this brush is from Bell, because I use most of your eyeshadow brushes. I love my clients to smile when I'm placing lip gloss because it helps to reduce the cracks. If you're not smiling, you can't just be putting gloss on a straight lips because it might just give you cracks. I want it shimmery and smooth. So the best way to get it is to ask them to keep smiling. That's a tip for today. So going back with the glow, making sure it's sitting right. I know you guys are wondering, I've not sprayed her face, and I always spray the face before I use glue, but sometimes when the face is too smooth and it's taking in products, I do the spraying last. So for the spray I used, I can't even remember the name, but definitely in the description box. This spray will hold your makeup forever and ever. Like, God, why did I say that? It can make your makeup last longer than it should. I'm going to leave it, and it's quite affordable, very affordable. It's actually a Nigerian brand, so I'm going to leave it in the description box. So I went ahead to style, or rather arrange her hair, because I didn't do the hair. The hairstylist was Evans the Hair Guru on Instagram, and her dress is from Orim Couture. So this is the finished look, guys. I hope you enjoyed watching this look. You can see all that glow smoothly. This is a very beautiful video, unfiltered, guys. So this is to say that you can get a flawless finish without filter, and trust me, without filter works better because you're proud of yourself, you're proud of your work. So, and our client really loved her look. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you're not aware that I'm on Instagram, because I know most of you don't know. So I'm Sweet Tamara on Instagram. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye. Have a nice day.